I think I'm seated next to royalty. Morin Bandari, tell me why it's important to take care of our faces.
To enhance your confidence.
What do we do wrong?
Us feeling and thinking that because we are black, we are dark skin, we don't need sunscreen. If you're applying a product on your skin, sometimes it might take longer for you to see results. One thing I came to realize, especially in business, you can have success in the current design or model that you have, and the moment you introduce something new, it cannot take the same success path. If you stay in one place and you're comfortable, then at some point everyone will just be moving in different directions and you'll be stuck there.
Mwanaume anafaa kuwa na towels ngapi? Classmates, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode, another lecture, another class. I'm so excited about this class because leo ni mambo na urembo mtu yangu. I am excited. Natoka hapa nikiwa mrembo zaidi. We're still filming at Longodot Place. Come check them out. They have amazing service departments for you. Manze uko na hizo tunazitanga nini staycations. Come check them out. They are very good rates. Tell them Phil Director Mixend. Tafadhali. One of the reasons I'm excited is I think I'm seated next to royalty because the way she's dressed, oh my goodness, she's giving me Cleopatra vibes. She has this royal purple going. I love it, love it. Secondly, genuinely, it's the second time she's sitting on this seat and her humility really humbled me. We did an episode a couple of months back and it had technical issues. Now, unfortunately, my second name, Field Director, so you guys are always judging me about quality. We couldn't air the first episode because it had some technical difficulties. And she was gracious enough to come in for a second interview, and I will forever and eternally be grateful. Maureen Bandari, how are you?
I'm fine. That was quite an introduction. I love it.
You love it?
Yes.
No, you do. You're giving me royalty vibes. Madam. Yo.
We try. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. I'm even trying to think, where do we start? Yani, you're so glammed. Let's start from here.
Yeah.
Who is Maureen Bandari and what life mission are you on?
Morin Bandari currently, let me start with the ones that mean the most to me is a mom and wife.
Okay.
And also I'm a CEO and founder of Bandari Beauty, which is your home of personalized skincare solutions.
Absolutely.
Where we literally work to enhance your confidence and well-being. And then on top of that, I'm a content creator as well.
Absolutely.
So my life mission, I think I'm still also in the journey of discovering the mission.
Okay.
You know how you grow up and then you're like, what is my purpose in life?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I have kind of discovered it, but along the way, every time something new comes up, then I'm like, well, I think by the time I'm in my 50s, we'll get to know what my purpose is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excited. I hope in your 50s, this podcast will still be here and we'll call you and you will
Yes.
let us know.
Now, at that point, I'll be, now.
My life.
This is my purpose. This has been my purpose.
Right.
Yes.
Let's put it into context and start from your earliest years.
Yeah.
How did you grow up as a child that set you off on this particular path? Like, what is it about beauty and your experience, and how did you and beauty come into contact with each other right from a very young age? How was it growing up?
So I still come from a family of 6 siblings. So we had a brother, but we lost our brother at some point. So I've always grown up with just girls.
Okay.
I have 4 sisters. My mom and dad are still together, thank God.
Awesome.
So growing up for us was less of entrepreneurship and beauty and all of these things, and more about academics.
Right.
So both my parents are retired teachers. So my mom was a primary school teacher. My dad was more of, lecturer, university kind of things.
Right.
So education and academics was just literally you're waking up reading. My dad would wake us up in the morning to read. And then you go to school, you're coming back playing, read. So my whole childhood growing up, honestly, it was books. And then it makes it worse if you were smart like me. Now you need to read twice. And I remember there's a time even me and like whenever we close school and we come back home, my dad used to, like, before you even start anything, where are your report forms? And I remember there's a time 3 of us closed school at the same time and we got home. And all of us were kind of struggling with math. So a sister of mine, her name is Gertrude, and we had failed. We were in the 60s%.
60s ni kufail.
Well, as per my dad, as per
your
my
dad.
dad, that was not like, something to bring home, and especially if, So the other one had, I think, less than 40%. So we were like, today we are doing better than this one. The moment my dad was like, bring the report forms, and we gave it to him, he was like, this one I can understand. You guys should be getting 90. Na sasa tumeshajiambia, us now we have performed way better than her. Us will be let go. You need to explain why you're not above 50. But my dad, I think he had a way of balancing. He knows your strength. So if you're good with sports, he will, push you towards sports. If you're good with school, it's just academics. If you're good with whatever, like my dad was that kind of parent who, whatever you want is what I'm going to support. So I kind of encountered beauty by the time I was going to university, I would say. So I went to KU. And when I came to Nairobi to go to KU,
kuna masomo KU.
Hey, who sang that? It was calligraphy.
Calligraphy was featured. Ndobuku.
Kuna masomo. Hey, tulifanya biotechnology huko. Hey. Department of Biochemistry.
Hallelujah.
So by the time I was going to KU, one of my sisters, my eldest sister, was already living in Nairobi. So I didn't stay in the hostels. We were staying together in Kaaskari. And by then she was working. So, when you start working is when you are like, okay, let me go buy this, let me go buy this and that. And then as a student, I mean, you just start using your siblings' things. And then you just like, I actually like this. What is this? So that's where the interest for beauty came. Because she used to put on some masks, and then I go steal the masks and put on. And for me, I was putting it on. I feel like for her, she was just putting them on because all her friends were also having like 1 or 2 things. But for me, I was putting them on and then paying attention, like, okay, how is my skin changing, without realizing that I was paying attention to it. Until now you start realizing, like, okay, since I started using this and this and that, there's something different about how my skin looks and all of these things. So I guess the interest came from there. So every time I could get my pocket money from my dad, literally straight to Super Cosmetics. What is new? Going through the beauty aisle. What is new? What can I add to my routine? Always on Google. What is this that I'm putting on my face, and all, and all that. And at that point, I had already started blogging. So I could put some posts on my blog about, what I'm doing to my skin as well. So at that point is when you realize people are asking you questions, and then you wonder, oh, you don't know. Because you imagine everyone is doing it. And then at that point you just realize, okay, actually it might not be everyone's interest. I have a certain interest towards this.
That's amazing. Just something you briefly touched on, and being a girl dad myself. I'm always keen about your relationship with your dad. And one thing I'm picking from a lot of the guests that sit here, a lot of the girls that grew up with fathers are very confident. Is this something?
I really don't know whether, I think it can contribute like heavily, because for me, first of all, I never felt like I lack something that my dad is not giving me, that a man needs to give me, or I need to go out and hustle for myself. And then my dad was that person who reaffirms you. He's like, you're so intelligent, you're this and that. Oh my God, you're the most intelligent person in this school. And I remember there's a time when I was in primary school, I think in class 8 or something, I topped in my whole district. So you could not tell my dad anything. In the village, everyone knew, hey, my child is like this and that. So I think seeing that pride he was carrying while bringing us up, you kind of like
Right.
carry it as well, and with more weight. And even now he's like, please don't embarrass my name. Like, he's just walking like,
Yeah.
this is our surname. So it does heavily contribute to the confidence, for sure, that I have. And he's also a people person. So
Right.
he'd come in here and immediately you'll be everyone's friend.
Mhm,
And I feel like I really picked a lot
Right.
of his personality and qualities, which are quite amazing. And I feel like they kind of help me navigate through life. So
Absolutely.
he was such a present dad, I can say that.
My friend, please be a present dad.
Yeah, there's
Please.
being available, and then
Yeah,
there's
being
being
a
a present
present
dad.
dad,
Because
yeah.
for him, as I mentioned, he was a lecturer, so he used to go to Kisumu literally the whole week, and then he'll come back home maybe around Friday for the weekend, but you'll feel his presence.
Right.
Like, just because he's away most of the time, when he comes, you just feel like he's compensating for the time away. So I never really grew up feeling like, oh, my father was never around,
Yeah,
and all those things. Then for him, it was, tell me what you want, I'll make it happen.
Okay.
So you just know, like, there's nothing you can't do. Because I remember when I finished high school, I was actually called to do like an engineering course. And I just told my dad, I'm a biology person. Me and maths,
Yeah.
I don't know how that's gonna work out. So he was like, so what do you want us to do?
Yeah.
And I told him, if you can find something along the likes of chemistry, biology, and literally we were on the search for such a course.
Wow.
And immediately we found biotechnology is like, we are changing.
Yeah.
He came with me to Nairobi. We are going to UON. I think the class was already full. And then we found space in KU. We switched. He did all that. So by the time I'm starting classes, I'm like, he's actually very, very supportive.
Wow. That's just amazing.
Yeah.
So now your dad is girl. Every move you make, dad is there. So the day mmetafuta biotechnology, mmetoka kwenye mmetafuta biotech.
Yeah.
Then one day you tell him, now dad, that degree mimi nikaa nimeenda hivi hii side ya makeup na beauty. How was that conversation?
So when I graduated, I went straight into the pharma industry. So I worked in pharma for like 6.5 years.
Right.
So they were multinational companies. So, again, dad's like, my child, So when I was in Mombasa, so one of the jobs was in Mombasa, so I had to move.
Yeah.
And that's where I literally kind of like built my career off of and my business. So I started the business, Bandari Beauty, that is, while I was still working. So by the time I was just looking at my math and, where do I want to go? How do I want to grow? And I realized, I think entrepreneurship it is for me, not being employed. I knew for a fact I need to move and I need to switch and I need to quit. So now, I knew I have to tell my husband, obviously, so that, I can't just come and tell my husband I have quit my job.
Yeah.
It has to be something that you're telling him, I'm thinking about quitting, and then you navigate through that as a family. But then now, the most important person also was my dad. I need to tell him. So I remember one day I picked my call. I'm like, because I didn't want him to convince me otherwise. I quit, then I say, I will just tell him.
You'll find out later. We deal with the
I'll
consequences.
just tell him, by the way, I quit. So I remember calling him and my mom answered the phone.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh, hi, Mom. I was trying to look for Dad. And I quit my job, by the way. My mom was like, hey, do not tell your father. Do not tell your father. If you want your father to collapse, do not tell him. Leave that job to me.
Right.
Because I live with him here. I will just try and see when he's in a good mood to receive news. I'm the one who's going to tell him. So I was just like, so we never really had that conversation about me quitting. Because I left it to my mom. Because my mom was was like, you cannot tell him, let that be my job. So, and the day she told him, he was just like, yeah, your dad is taking pressure meds. Yeah, because he has high blood pressure. So he was just like,
The pressure.
it's almost, but we worked through it. So my dad called me, he's like, okay, Basi, you can do that business for a while and then you go back to employment. I'm like, Dad, I'm not going back. Like, I'm on this path and this is how it is. And I felt like in the initial stages, I felt like I had to keep proving to myself to him that I've made the right choice. So I would update him. This is how we are doing in the business. This is what I want to do. This is how the business is doing this month. So that I can see I'm actually taking it as serious as it needs to be, until it got to a point where I was just like, you know what? He will just let me just put the work, and at some point he will be able to see like, okay, this was a good choice. And by the time I was very stable and I had opened a physical store, I remember he came to visit, and he came to Nairobi to visit the store for the first time. And in my store, I have this very big logo, like you can't miss it. It's with lights in 3D. So he came in and immediately is like, wow, that is my name. That's my name. That's my name. He's telling everyone, take me a photo here. Take me a photo.
Oh, wow.
So that was such a proud moment for me and also for him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
He was like, take me a photo here. In fact, pay me taxes for using our surname. I told him I will be paying royalty.
You'll pay royalty. Oh, man, I love that. So, okay, now you're like, you know what, beauty industry is the way for me.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first sale? What was it? How much did you sell? Do you even remember the client? How?
So obviously, like many people, I didn't sit down and come up with like a business plan and then went into the business. It just started like a hobby of some sort, because remember, as I mentioned, I was blogging at that time and I was living in Mombasa as well. So majority of the beauty stores in Mombasa had products that were more for like light skin women. So by that time, I already knew how to ship things for myself from Amazon, from US, from UK, mostly clothes though. But because I knew I needed now, like I had now gotten into the, I need this makeup, but I can't find my shade at that time locally. So I started shipping for myself. So when I was shipping for myself and take a picture and post on Instagram, people like me will be like, where did you get the shade? Because I can't get it anywhere. So I started like a joke to like, okay, I'm going to buy things next week. You can send me the money. When I'm buying my own stuff, I'll buy for you as well. So in the beginning stages, it used to be more like a pre-order kind of business where I know I'm going to buy things next week. So I just post on my Instagram, if you need to send me something, this is the time. We have opened the doors. And then I would do the conversion. Someone will ask me, how much is this? I go on the website, see the dollars, convert, put my markup, and then I tell them. Then they'll send me the money and I'll buy for them. So it was like that for quite some time. And in as much as I started in 2018 Feb, the bulk of like the first 6 months was just in that particular model until I just got tired of, because you talk to one person, then another person, and then another person. I decided, okay, now I feel like I've figured out what people like and the brands that they like. I can take a risk and use my savings to just buy the products already, let them be here with me, and then now I can create a page and now people can start buying. So I remember the first time I was just selling one product at a time, but the first time I sold was 18,000 to one client. So this client calls me, she's like, okay, I need this and this and this and this. So first of all, I could not believe, because majority of the customers I had at that time were just calling for one thing. So here's someone who's like literally a whole basket of things. Hey, paka nikasema, I need to literally deliver this thing myself and see who is this person. So it was some Arab lady and she was a Costa Rican makeup artist. So she had a school. So she has to buy in bulk because she's teaching. The students are also using the products. So I went to her house and went into the place where she had the studio. I could not believe my eyes. I'm like, she had drawers and drawers of beauty products. I'm like, are you mad? Like, are people living like this in this country?
Yeah.
And I almost imagined that she'll not pay me. Because, I mean, everyone has been buying things worth 2,000,
Yeah.
3,000.
So
So who are you
yeah.
again? Hey, Baka was just like, hey, nisikwe. Mtu anatoka na bunduki. But anyway, yeah, so when she paid me that money, I remember I went to my house, sat, relaxed, in shock. I didn't do business the whole day. I'm just trying to believe.
You're
like,
18 unaweka hapo hivi.
nimeweka
Acha
hapo.
tuipangie.
Yeah. So by the end of that month, I remember making around like 350,000. So at that point, I was just like, hey, okay. Sasa hapa, if we continue like this for like a few months, now we can even now start considering quitting. So by the time I was quitting, the business was doing, a few numbers which I was comfortable to quit.
Yeah. So at this point, you're shipping in other products, other brands.
Yes.
Now, I'm curious about the transition that you're like, you know what, enough of shipping other people's brands. I want to create my own brand. Yeah,
that was a long journey, because even up to now we still ship and we still buy from distributors locally. So the main switch that happened in the business was when I started, it was more of makeup. Yeah. And then by the time, remember when I was telling you when I was in uni and I used to use my sister's products, I could see a difference. I did continue with that on my own, personal situation. And slowly I started introducing the skincare to the business.
Right.
Then I realized that most people were quite familiar with makeup because, I mean, if it's this shade of red, it is just this shade of red. There is nothing to explain like this shade of red.
True.
But now when it comes to skincare, there's a lot of explanation that has to happen for the customer to be convinced to purchase something. So someone will probably come with a problem. Now you are the one to educate and give the solution. Right. But with makeup, it was, I need this color of lipstick. It's either you have it or you don't have it.
Right.
So by the time I was moving back to Nairobi in 2020, that's when I made the decision, okay, I actually enjoy explaining to people why they need this over this. So I made the switch to skincare completely.
Awesome.
So we dropped the makeup completely and we started now rebranding as a skincare business.
Okay.
So it's through that, the good thing with sometimes some of these businesses is the longer you do them, you get to understand the real problem that the customer has.
Right.
In a way that there are things now you can do on a personal level, like for example, now having your own line to solve the exact issues that the customers have. Right. So by the time I was thinking about now having my own line was when I did the switch to skincare. Okay. But obviously, immediately you just learn it is not as easy as just deciding.
And this is 2020.
Yeah, and that is 2020.
Just before COVID.
I actually moved to Nairobi like today. Tomorrow it was lockdown. So hata Nairobi sijajua nanunua chumvi wapi, kiberiti, where do I buy mama mboga things from? Yeah. Nothing. I was just in my house following the rules beyond the balcony uchape najua kidogo. I don't know. Mtu akiniambia I'm in Kilimani, I don't know how to tell you how much that costs to Kilimani, because Kilimani ni wapi, Kilelesha ni wapi. Right. Like literally didn't know much about Nairobi and it's and it was quite a struggle for me actually in 2020 trying to be in a new environment in a pandemic. Yeah. And you want to now touch base with your clients. Okay. My clients, I have left them in Mombasa. True. And I had a good number of customers in Nairobi, but really not enough for me.
Your home base was Mombasa.
Yeah, not enough for me to be like, okay, I know these customers love this and this and this and that. So 2020 was quite complex, if I can say.
I'm curious about your R&D and how you go about developing your products, the research that goes into it, and finally you deciding now this is the right product for our market. Yeah, I'm curious about that process.
So having been in the business for a while and working hard to put effort behind my personal brand, I knew for a fact I'm not one of those people who will just bring something from another country and slap my name on it and tell people, hey, here you go. I knew for a fact, even for me, I would want something I use on a day-to-day basis and something even my own clients will be proud of. So the reason why I started thinking about, creating our own brand in it was even back in 2019, but I wasn't serious about it until I moved to Nairobi. The reason why it took me long is to find the right person and the right manufacturer.
Right.
In the right labs. Because for me, it had to be, you have to have like some qualification in regards to what you have studied, how long you have done this particular job for. Because for you to manufacture your own things, you need a formulator. I am not a formulator.
Right.
In as much as now I've gotten to a point where I'm understanding why we are putting this with this one. And for me, I wanted to be, in as much as I was manufacturing in China at that time, though right now we have moved to a different country, I wanted to be involved in a way that, educate me. Why are we mixing this with this? What will happen if we put more of this and not this?
So the biotech helped.
Now those are the things you you graduate, you're like, wow, am I gonna work in Cambridge and the Ilris of this world? And then you go there, you need a master's, you need to work in research. You just realize I'm not a lab person. You find yourself in a different, career path.
Right.
But then now when it comes to where I am, I realized it was just designed to be like that. Because now when I talk to my formulators, I can understand quickly what we are trying to do and what we are trying to achieve.
Right.
I'm not feeling like they are telling me Greek. If you are talking about some of these ingredients, I understand. And I already even understand this one cannot work with this one because maybe it can destabilize the pH or it can destabilize the acidity and, all those things. So for me, you sit back and you're like, actually, the background was not such a bad choice,
Right.
So at the moment, we only have 2 products. We have a cleanser and a sunscreen, but we are in the process of developing more. So there's more to come this year.
Love it.
But now we still have a lot of, majority of the things we stock in the store are actually other brands. And then now we added our own brand on top. Yeah.
All right. So now you have this beautiful product.
Yeah.
Next thing is making people aware.
Yeah.
So what's your marketing strategy?
Hey.
And distribution, because I know distribution. Yeah.
At least I haven't gotten to that distribution docket yet because of a few challenges that we encountered. But one thing I came to realize, especially in business and the kind of model and business that I have, was you can have success in the current design or model that you have, and the moment you introduce something new, it cannot take the same success path. Like the moment I launched, and in Kenya you'll realize very quickly when you launch something, I don't know whether this has happened to you, you'll get thousands of congratulatory messages, but that doesn't necessarily translate to sales and the success of your business. I remember, and without even being ashamed, when we launched our own brand, I think on that launch day and maybe like the next day, I think we sold like a total of like 30 pieces.
Wow.
And then Sayo, you have a brand, you like Bandari Beauty is a brand on its own at the moment. I'm a brand on my own. Together, plus my friends and anyone who can support me. That is a lot of visibility. That's a lot of PR.
Right.
But here we are with our 30 pieces on day 1 and day 2. And the thing that I really love about how personally I operate and how my team also, we have conditioned ourselves to operate, we don't sit down and wallow in the pity and like, oh my God, I was expecting more and whatever. Immediately it hit us, Bandari Beauty as a brand and us selling other brands works. People, because they already know the other brands. But here we are, people don't know our brand. So we have to put a lot of effort behind that. And what was very interesting at that point was I have customers all the time who come to the store. When they come to the store, because they kind of know the brands, they don't even question you about what are the ingredients in this product.
True.
Oh, are they KEBS certified?
True.
Are they? But when it comes to your brand, they're like, wait, are you KEBS certified?
Yeah.
And thank God, I was just like, I want to do things the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that I knew I needed to do.
Yeah.
So at least we had that. I could explain all my ingredients and why this and that, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So it was quite interesting for me to see when I came to our own brand, the questions were very specific
Mm-hmm.
and in a way that you could tell also the customer wants to be educated about
True.
it.
True.
And when it comes to these other brands that we retail,
Mm-hmm.
as long as you understand it
Yeah.
and that is what you recommend, I'm good.
Yeah.
So immediately after that weekend, because I think we launched like on a Friday,
Mm-hmm.
so by Monday, obviously a meeting had to be held.
Yeah.
What can we do? You know, and all of this. So it took us like a whole month of planning, content, education, and also even educating the team that was responsible in the store as well. And literally, we now started seeing sales trickling in after now putting in structures. This is what we are telling people. This is the message we are sending out. This is who is going to advertise. This
Right.
is how we're going to advertise it.
Yeah.
And now people come back to the store. They're like, oh, I want your Bandari Beauty Bubble Cleanser. I'm like, hey, God.
I see God.
Finally, we are seeing the results. But I really love that because it was also a humbling moment for you to know that anytime you introduce something new, you literally have to put effort
Absolutely.
behind it. You can't really rely on, oh, I'm a personal brand. People know who we are. They'll just come running. Nobody's going to come running.
That is true.
Everything you just have to put effort behind it.
I thank you. I totally agree with you. And because I do a lot of marketing videos for a lot of clients.
Yeah.
And these are some of the conversations we have
Yeah.
because, you know, they'll do this big launch,
Yeah.
big
And then
names.
you forget how to...
And then it's not converting and you're wondering, what did we do wrong? And I've slowly started understanding that when you bring, especially when it's something really, really new in the market,
Yes.
the first thing is educating.
You have to.
you
And
know.
I think where most brands go wrong, including me at that time, which obviously I'm not going to do it again, you rely a lot on the launch and the impact of the launch.
Yeah.
And you forget there are people who will be happy, you know, like, okay, this is something new, I also have it.
Yeah.
But there are people who genuinely want to buy it.
True.
And if they don't understand what is this that I am buying, then you're literally doing nothing. So even if I'm to advise anyone launching something, yes, do the big launch, do whatever it is to get the word out there, but immediately start the education.
Yeah.
This is what we have. It has this, it has that. It is suitable for this person and not this other person. Yeah. Like, hit the ground running.
Right.
You know, okay, I hate to use that phrase, but here I am.
It is.
But don't depend on, the launch. Did you see our launch? Did you see our launch?
No.
Because immediately after the launch, we are on to something else. Another brand is launching something next weekend. True. We have moved. We don't have shares in your business for us to keep wandering ahead and then. So immediately after the launch, you just move into, educating the masses, understanding who your target market could be and what they like, and then, meeting them at their point of need.
Absolutely. In marketing, we always say have a pre-launch plan and then the launch itself and a post.
Yes.
The pre is where now you can start having conversations about what your product, the need it solves.
Yes.
Then on the launch day, what you're doing is attracting eyeballs, but immediately you need to keep and sustain those eyeballs. And you do that now by telling them, now this is what this product solves for you.
And that's where the
work
is.
That is where the work is.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's amazing. And I think that's a really, really good tip.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've launched, you've learned your lesson, you've started doing all these educational videos. Now your products are starting to trickle down. Can you remember a particular time or day that you felt a shift? Now you felt, okay, now we've cracked the market. Now we are on to something.
I think it's both because I'm big on retail and also from our own personal skincare brand in the store. I think both ways, whether it's in the retail where we are dealing with other brands and in our own brand, the moment several customers are coming back for the same thing, that's when you're just like, oh, so it impressed you that much.
Yes.
To a point where, because it's different when it's one person coming, but when every day, and I remember when we went out of stock, it was so crazy. On our end, we're like, oh, finally we're out of stock. And we had like some timeline before we could restock. I have never regretted also something like that.
Wow.
Because now you get this new pressure from customers who are like, yeah, I've come for the same cleanser. You're like, oh. Hey, so you're there with your manufacturers. Hey, please.
Yeah.
Please.
We're doing something right. Send them over.
In fact, now give us more.
Wow.
So I think whenever a customer, and not just one customer, but multiple customers come back to request for the same things you gave them the first time.
Right.
At any given time, that is just like, in a way, a validation of whatever you're doing is working, because now they're happy enough for them to come back. And I really love my clients because most of the time they don't come back by themselves. They come with people.
And that's the, I just realized we're really talking about the products.
Yeah.
And we haven't talked about the issue, the need that you're solving.
Yeah.
Tell me why it's important to take care of our faces.
Yeah.
Why, kwa nini tuko na hizi products zote? Si mimi nafikiria nikipata tu shawa na kipande ya sabuni niko sawa.
Well, while I advocate for everyone to do what rocks their boat, I'm not that person who'll be like, "Ati you use kipande," because I like it when I meet you at your point of need. Because sometimes if you don't see a need, I mean, I can only talk a lot of English here. And then you still be like, okay, he's on Izako, but me, my kipande has worked for me for years. I can only educate you what the impact of that can do to your skin. But beyond there, really, unless you also have a shift in how you want to take care of your skin, you can easily hit a wall. But for those who understand, like by the time I was even making the decision to switch into skincare, was the kind of engagement now I was having with my clients. Fortunately, I'm one person who has never really suffered from acne, and acne-related issues. But then the kind of clientele I was serving at that point when I had just switched, so because I was online at that time, in 2020 we were still online, so we moved into a physical store in 2021. So at that point we were doing consultations on WhatsApp. So someone would send me their photo, I'd zoom out, and then you try and see, okay, where are the problems, and then initially even I used to literally beg people to send me photos. Because they don't have the confidence they need. They feel like you will judge them a certain way. So they would rather call you and explain. And then I realized that when I was just chatting with that customer, and then I managed to convince them to send me a photo. So when they sent me the photo, I'm like, this is not what you're explaining. Because on the phone, they're downplaying the situation.
Of course.
But now when they sent me the photo, I'm like, where actually you need a dermatologist. I can't help. So slowly I started realizing there was that situation where the confidence levels, like I feel like some of these skin issues can really bag you down when it comes to confidence. And that's why even the word confidence is in part of our slogan, whereby we want to enhance your confidence. And with enhanced confidence comes, your well-being. And when we opened the stores, I remember we had a lot of people who come in with a cape, some sunglasses, and a hoodie.
Wow.
So they just come like, kama umekuja kisniper, you get. So they come and they're like, oh yeah, what. And I remember there's a time I was trying to look for more salespeople in the store, and I'm not gender biased. Even if you were a man who could do it, it's fine. So I was on phone trying to talk to some HR person who was, hiring for me. And she asked me, do you mind a man or a woman? I'm like, I actually don't mind. You can bring anyone. And there was a customer behind me. And he was like, hey. And then a man atuone vile tuko tu hivi. Ndio nikaka, I'm like, Actually, I had not thought about it.
Wow.
I had not thought about it like that, and how much some of these skin issues can impact someone's confidence and self-esteem. So it became something that almost became very personal to me, because I'm generally a confident person.
Yeah.
And here I am, you can see someone is so pretty, but now the esteem part of it is literally diminishing because of whatever is happening on their skin. And you should see the same customers after treatment.
Oof, confidence.
What is a hoodie?
What is humility?
What is that? We will come with our heels all made up. You know what? I'm going on a date after this.
Way.
So immediately you start realizing there is a need to be filled.
Right.
And I really love also parents nowadays, parents to teenagers. Because remember, when you're a teenager and you're an adolescent, acne becomes one of the things that you might experience.
Right.
And during our times, our parents will just tell you, that one, itaisha, it will end. Remember you're a teenager.
Yeah.
So you suffer with the acne, you end up having acne scarring and dark spots after, and your parents is just okay, like, everyone passed through this. But the modern parent, I feel like, is very, very different. The moment it happens, they're in the store. What can we do? And you know, if you're dealing with such younger people, you can't do a lot. Yeah. And it's one of the reasons why we ended up now even creating a model where we can work with dermatologists to work on some specific populations that we don't want to touch.
Wow, what should I do for my face, my body? And I'm speaking on behalf of all the gentlemen here. Hizo products zenu sio cheap. We. And then in the bathroom, nakuangana like 20 products. First of all, it's like a whole workout before you go to bed.
I like how my customers DM me sometimes. They're like, wow, let me go look for 5 million.
Yeah.
To come to your store.
Your skincare is not.
They're not cheap. Because I think also because majority of them are imported as well.
Okay. Yeah.
And we all know the current economies, the recent past has not been very kind. But obviously with time and let's say get to a point where you can even manufacture locally, then it might move from 5 million to 300,000. But that joke always gets me. So the model we have in the store is very personalized. So that's why even when you said we as men, it can't be you guys as men, it can only be you as Phil. Because the challenges you're experiencing on your skin could be different from what your colleague or anyone else could be experiencing. And that's why you'll never see us, focusing on, guys, come and get this product, get this product. It's come and get a consultation.
Right.
So that we can get to because as you mentioned, the products can be so many.
Yeah.
So we can help you decipher what do I literally need. Because sometimes you can see people online and they have like 20 of them. That doesn't necessarily mean you need 20 of them.
True.
But you cannot know if you don't come in for a consultation. So for men, because men have, this masculinity going, we try and keep it at a minimum where you can have just your cleanser, your moisturizer, and maybe a sunscreen.
Yangu hizo ni tatu already. Watatuuliza wanaume wako hapo. Uko na mafuta ngapi bro?
We alishasema Arimis for the scalp, for the face, for the lips.
Hiyo moja ni kuanzia from the head to the toe. Yes. Ukishavaa nguo pale panaonekana ndo unapaka mafuta.
But if you guys want to look younger for longer, then at least sunscreen should not be negotiable.
Mnasikia.
At least that one should be. That is something you have.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. We avoid the wrinkles and all of those things.
There's one other thing we fight with the men here. Mwanaume anafaa kuwa na towels ngapi? Sasa
as long as it's clean, you just need to change. Because the only thing I know with us women is we will have one for the face. We'll
Hakuna towel.
And that's why I always feel sorry for those people who are dating and then you go visiting your man and you forget all your things. Akona towel moja. And then you just try to use that towel. Breakouts tomorrow. They'll not even wait. But that same man is using even the same towel up to the feet. And they're perfect. No, it's okay, but not like the one on the feet is the one you're using on the face.
Yote tu ni mwili yangu. Okay.
it's easy to think about it like
I
that.
know, I
but
know,
for
I
us, but you know, now
I
with
know, it's
women
okay.
also, when it comes to some of these issues, there's a lot
Yeah,
that
for sure.
affects from hormones to, you know, all of these things.
Right.
Unlike you men, where you can now have the leeway to
Right.
to
Okay,
do that.
so gentlemen, nimejaribu kuwatetea, but the gist is please have at least three towels.
No, I was talking about the products.
Yeah,
Three.
tuanzie na towels.
Okay,
at least
towel.
2 towels. Moja ya kuanzia hapa kwenda chini and then moja ya uso.
Hata ukikuwa na moja, as long as you use a clean towel
Okay.
all the time.
Hapo nimewasave. But now products, minimum 3.
At least 3.
Umesema cleanser,
moisturizer, and sunscreen.
Cleanser, moisturizer.
Na kama uko na beards,
Yeah.
now again, that's a different story.
Mungu
Sasa
hapo
unaingia kwa
amenisaidia.
1 million.
Hapo Mungu alinisaidia.
But on the real though, it's just an inside joke. Skincare is not that expensive. Like, not that expensive.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you know, genuinely, and we make fun of this, but you look at the older couples, and especially if they're almost the same age, the man will always tend to look a bit older than the woman, and that's because women genuinely take care of them.
We start early, like some of us have started in uni.
Yeah,
so you starting today, will you catch up?
Yeah, true, that's true.
Like, you know, some things like sun damage, you can't, like, as you keep being exposed from the time you're born, it just keeps piling up and piling up. But you can only start at some point. But we normally have some customers who just come, ndio wameshtuka, I am 60. What can I do? Can I look 20 with something? So, you know, sometimes we try and educate from a point of start early. Especially if you want like the anti-aging things, start early around your 25 going up. Ideally,
anti-aging 25.
Yeah, there's some things you can start doing from 25.
Tumechelewa bana.
But you know, now if you start now, you're still better than waiting until you're 60 to start at that point. But
Mo unanipea pressure bana. Sasa hii episode inaanza kunipatia pressure na wasiwasi.
Sasa tujaongea juu ya running a business in Nairobi na umesha pata pressure.
Already running a business in Nairobi that peer pressure, and that's okay, amazing. You know, that industry of yours is so large, it's so big. I think the last figure I saw in Kenya alone, the cosmetic and beauty industry is about 20 billion worth Kenya shillings. You know, first of all, hawezi nigawia. Do you have like a loose million somewhere?
Hiyo ni figures za government.
Hizo ni za government. Sio za mfuko yako. Nilikuwa nafikiria kwa hiyo 20 at least hiyo 2
you know, we are many. The cake is big. So by the time we are distributing and collecting, it comes to that 20 billion. But I think it's just the love that women have with beauty. And it has happened from generations. Egyptians, that's where literally even makeup, the mascaras and all these things originated from. As much as they are using like almost kohl or something to draw their eyeliners, their, you know, and all that. So since time immemorial, women have always loved beauty. Even in the Bible, they say, I think Shiko here is the one who knows which of the Bible characters was told, you shower and you put perfume and for your... There's a story like that.
Esther. Alioga for 1 year.
Yeah,
1 year.
So you can imagine, even in the Bible, beauty is very predominant, and we carry it with us. I can be broke, but I have some small coins for my moisturizer or for my, you know, so the habits, I think, definitely contribute to that figure that is happening in Kenya.
So I'm just curious because it's one industry that evolves every single day. There's a new product every single day. There's new research coming out every single day. How do you stay on top of this? And you know, for someone who's watching, you know, how do I get comfortable to the point that, hey, every new product, I'm not running to buy it? Because it could work, you know, against you. Yeah.
So the thing with the model we have in Bandari Beauty, which I also love that even people in the market do this as well, is educating the masses. So as a consumer, the videos we normally put out that are educative, please just watch them. Because how that, in as much as sometimes we educate so that we also sell at the end of the day, or pull you into our store, okay, now come for a consultation, they also have an impact to the consumer from an understanding perspective. So that when everything is being launched, you're able to understand, okay, it has the same ingredients as the item that I have in my house. So really, I don't need to buy a new one unless it's really coming out with a new ingredient we've never heard of and it's promising to work on issues that I have, then I can easily, go and try it. But I feel like also it's a habit. There are people who just don't want to be left out. The FOMO can easily kill them. If you launch something new, they're like, I need to try, and then, I decide if I need or I don't need. But we also educate on the dangers of just trying everything, because now you can do the opposite of what you want to achieve. So there's a lot of educating that goes on in there. But from my perspective as a founder and as someone who is very visionary, I never rest because we have something going on. I'm always looking for the next big thing that I can introduce into the business. And my family and my close friends always tell me, you don't sleep. You don't sleep, because I can be online at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Sure. I know I'm a kissy, but see, uchawi nafanya. At those wee hours of the night.
Oh, wow.
It's just that.
I was not ready for that. Okay.
It's just that I think better at night. I remember we introduced a skin analysis machine in the store 2 years ago. By then, no one really was doing it in the country. And I was just online on a website somewhere, and then they were trying to use AI technology. You'd take a photo on your laptop. And then I asked myself, you want to tell me there's no machine that does things like this? In as much as it's on the website, I'm sure there must be a machine somewhere. And then I started now researching on, okay, can there be a machine here and there that can do this analysis thing? And eventually I got it. It was quite pricey, but I was just like, you know what? This is revolutionary. I haven't seen it being done locally, so let me go for it. And it literally changed the course of my business. And for me, the moment I see the change in the business, immediately I know I need to start going on to the next thing. Because you can't ride on something you have introduced all your life.
That's true.
I mean, things keep changing every day. So for me, I think I keep up with the trends from a point of understanding what the trends are, so that I'm able to decipher whether do I actually need this or not. And then also from just the point of constantly thinking about what could be the next big thing that I can introduce to the business for my clients to benefit from it, and also to scale my business to a different level.
And I know she speaks of facts, because as I was trying to get her to come back on the show, we had a call. She's like, hey, Philip, now those dates you're mentioning, I will not be available. Yeah, I'm going back to school. I'm like, Allah, congratulations. Yeah, as we speak, I'm in Dubai. I'm like, yeah, stop over. No. School is in Dubai. I was like, hey, lanes. And she was there for a couple of months.
Yeah.
What? Ulikuwa fanya nini Dubai? What were you studying?
So in line with what we were talking about, where you need to constantly evolve.
Right.
Because I always refer back to, you remember the Nokia story, where the CEO, when now talking about Nokia, was like, I have done nothing wrong. But in that instant, when you look at it, they were now evolving with what Blackberries and iPhones at that time were trying to do, and new phones were trying to do. And it is a learning moment at that point, whereby if you stay in one place and you're comfortable, then at some point, everyone will just be moving in different directions and you'll be stuck there. And you don't want to be the person who also comes out and says, I did nothing wrong.
Right.
Because the purpose of other people is also to teach you. You don't have to go through what other people go through. You just need to understand what are the key teachable moments in these particular scenarios. So for me, I am very focused on giving our clients a 360 we want to take care of them 360 wise. So at the moment we do the consultations in the store, and after the consultation we're able to curate skincare routine for you.
Right.
So this technically just means you will be having skincare products in your house, which you can apply in the morning, in the evening, and all of that. We were able to also create a model where we can work with dermatologists. And the reason why I introduced that model, the first of its kind, was because, as we mentioned, my background, I'm not a dermatologist.
Right.
For that reason, there are people who are comfortable coming to me and maybe not going to a hospital.
Yeah.
So I had to put boundaries because ethics for me is very big. I don't want to pretend like, I can see everybody and we can cure everybody. There are things which are just meant for dermatologists to handle.
Right.
And then there are just the normal simple things. You want to just look like you're hydrated. We can hydrate you,
Right.
like it's not complex. So I created a model whereby we can handle clients to a certain level, and beyond a certain level, that is for professionals.
Right.
Yeah. So the other now gap that was left was the spa, the spa situation whereby if you're applying a product on your skin, sometimes it might take longer for you to see results. However, if you're in a medical spa situation, for example, you can now use higher percentages of things to fasten, the healing process. Could be pigmentation you're dealing with. It could be the acne that you're dealing with. So for me, I had to go back to school so that in our quest to keep expanding and to keep scaling, I find myself retracting a little bit if I'm in a business that I don't understand.
Yeah.
So me even going back to school to study now, how do you do the facials? How do you do the chemical, I'm trying not to use like
technical terms.
For you and your audience, but I needed to understand because I'm one of those leaders who loves to understand what my people are doing.
Right.
Because I also notice my team also looks up to me a lot.
Yeah.
So whenever they get stuck, they come for solutions to me. And I didn't want a scenario where now maybe you have gone into a new market so that you're able to cater to your clients all around, and you have people working there, and then they cannot come to you for anything.
Right.
If something happens to a client and they come telling you this and this happened, even me, I'm like, hey, okay. I need to understand where did we go wrong? Where did we go right? So I had to go back to school. And eventually, by the time I'm done with all the certifications I need, I will be an esthetician. So an esthetician is not a dermatologist, but they can do some procedures on your face while doing like a facial and stuff like that, so that you can take care of one or two things that you need to.
An esthetician.
Yes.
I love it. Now, going through that schooling and that process, can you tell me some basic... what do we do wrong? Basic stuff that we do wrong, and if we got it right, our skins will be healthier. Basic everyday things,
I think, first of all, the number one culprit is just doing what your friend is doing. So like someone can come visit you in your house, you have this, then they go buy exact same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, that takes us back to what we were saying, which was have something personalized,
right?
Because your friend's issue might not necessarily be your issue. Then number two is us feeling and thinking that because we are black, we are dark skin, we don't need sunscreens.
Aki, that's a myth.
It is a myth. But okay, to be fair though, because we are dark, we kind of have like protection of like SPF 15-ish. So it's not like we are totally exposed.
Right.
But again, we live in the equator. Come on. The sun and us, we are like this. Yeah, so, and if you're also working like a field job, you're in the field from morning to evening. Come on. Ata Melanie nitakwambia beyond here.
Yeah.
So even if we are Africans, we do need sunscreens as well. Men and women. Because feel here, in fact, after this interview, we need to look at what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely need to pay you a visit and Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Because for my industry, I'm literally in the sun the entire day.
Hey,
As a
you even need the
filmmaker.
one for spray to reapply.
Sasa hiyo my people here wakiniona kwa set nikifanya ile maneno nitapatiwa. Toxic masculinity.
You send them to us so that we do the explaining for you.
All right.
Wasidhani ni mafuta unajaribu kujipaka.
Tutafanya hivi, we will do covert hours where I will bring all the men on my set.
Yeah.
You know, usiku ndo tusionekane. And then ndio wote waexplainiwe waambiwe sasa huwezi shinda kwa jua the whole day na camera.
Yeah.
You need a sunscreen.
Camera, they just focus on the shots.
Yes.
They forget the shots wanapata za UV kwa forehead.
Goodness. We tuko na kibarua watu wangu. And what about hydration? I've had not getting enough sleep also gives you breakouts.
Yeah, there I'm a culprit, but
so those are facts.
Yeah, those are facts because now again, remember there's things that you do on your skin,
Right.
and then there are things that are just internal, like now drinking water, eating right, reducing sugars and carbs, sleeping well, because ideally the skin cells regenerate when you're resting.
Right.
So if you're not resting, you're literally just destabilizing your own anatomy and how it needs to work. So all of these things tie down together, but then with this Zakayo economy, sometimes you have to sleep at 4 and wake up at 6 to drop kids to school.
Tiangu, you're giving me pressure. Taking care of our skins. That's so amazing. I'm curious about taking care now of the business. We've talked about creating the perfect product. We've talked about marketing. I know the next biggest hurdle is usually building a team. Yeah. How was that process for you?
I think I would say this has been the most interesting journey of my my career as a business person.
Yeah.
In the beginning, obviously, as every entrepreneur, you're by yourself. You are the accountant, you're the manager, you're the salesperson. It's almost in the back you become even the delivery person.
Kabisa. Kabisa.
And the first time I ever had an employee was in Mombasa. So my friends and I decided to have a pop-up in Mombasa. That was like in 2019. So in 2019, and a pop-up where, remember, I was online.
Yeah.
So a pop-up ideal is now physical. So I knew for a fact I'm going to have a lot of customers coming in at once.
Yes.
And I'm just one person.
Yeah.
I need someone else. So I made the decision to look for someone the night before. Taking the risk. No one there to advise you. You just do what makes sense.
Yeah.
So I found someone the night before who, thank God, kind of knew a thing here and in there. So immediately after the pop-up, I was just like, actually, it might be time to employ someone. So I asked her if she wants a job. She said yes. We talked about the pay and all of these things. So we became 2.
Right.
So by the time I was moving to Nairobi, she moved with me to Nairobi.
Wow. Okay.
And by the time now we were opening the store, I knew for a fact if 3 customers walk into the store, she has someone, I have someone, the other customer will just,
wait. Yeah.
So at that point is when I knew I need to start growing a team. But then one thing I feel like also us as entrepreneurs, we have, you feel like, hey, no one can do this business like me. Hey, you
delegating. Oh, that's a big one.
It's just a challenge because you're just like, where? I don't think this person can talk to people online the way I talk to people online. So the next person I needed to hire was someone to handle our digital platforms. And at that point, I'm this blogger who just knows her way around social media.
Right.
That was the biggest one for me to let go because I'm just like, I'm not so sure if this person will respond with the with the care and humility that I give my clients and ask them, are you okay? If I know you're a mama, is your child doing? You're doing the most. Right. But over time, I let the business guide me. Okay. So for example, and that's what I actually do up to now, whereby if let's say I feel like we are responding a bit slow on social media, then it becomes very obvious it's time to hire someone for that position. And then slowly you realize one person cannot handle all their walk-ins. They're getting tired. In fact, at some point, she was even getting malaise. This one, you go to the hospital, you're not sick, but you're sick.
Yeah.
Immediately, I just knew, let me hire 2 more people.
Right.
And over time, I think there was a point now I had like 5 employees. And at that point, I was just like, I'm still in my era of, I don't think anyone can do this better than me and all of these things. And I remember having a conversation with one of my friends who asked me a very vital question, which I'm so thankful she did. And that was, do you think you will ever sell your business?
Good question.
So the moment she asked me that, I'm like, hey, no, it has my surname. What do you mean? It has my surname. She's like, okay, why do you start a business? To solve a need and to be financially stable.
Yeah.
Yeah. If the business, you have structured it in a way that is solving the need, then the next thing that's remaining is for you to be financially stable.
True.
Meaning, selling a business is not a bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, build the business in a way that it is sellable. And in doing that, the thing she was trying to, tell me is you have to emotionally detach from your business.
Right.
So that you're able to look at the business from a different perspective.
Yes.
Otherwise, this other design, you're so like, this is my baby. I even stopped saying this is my baby. It used to be, this is my firstborn. Then my own child is my secondborn.
Yeah.
It got to a point when I understood that you can actually get to a point in the future, and I'm not saying I'm going to do it, but you have to be comfortable with the idea of selling the business so that you emotionally detach enough for you to now build the business. Because now you're building something that is sellable. You're not building because you're like, hey, I don't have money to pay another person.
No.
Now you're thinking from a point of, we need someone for operations. I can't do operations anymore. They're coming left, right, center. We need someone for that. Now, the thing I loved about how I was going about it, it was always need basis.
Yeah.
If I feel like I can't handle ordering, like by the time I'm ordering from this supplier, I have forgotten we also need to order from this supplier. Already I'm interfering with the operations of the business. So for me, it has always been led by need. So we ended up now structuring the business in a way that it can also at some point operate like a corporate business. And at that point is when I really thanked my background and going to work in corporate, because now you become very disciplined. Everything that you're doing is for a bigger goal.
Right.
It's not just within your area, and making sure that as long as I've come to work, I have seen my 3 people, I'm okay. Right. Everything ties down, to something else. So for me, then it became quickly, okay, we need to build a marketing team. I can't be online creating Facebook ads and creating all these videos for entertainment and, reach and all of these things while I have someone else to come and consult in the store. So immediately I just knew we need to now start creating departments. So we started creating departments slowly, from marketing to digital to operations to finance. And the thing that I loved about the process was it was slow. I know sometimes it looks like it is fast, depending on when you got to know about Bandari Beauty. But, things like finance, you start having like a consultant who was coming in and doing the finance at the end of the month, until it gets to a point where you feel like now we need to be reconciling every day. True. Now we actually need someone who sits inside the business like on a day-to-day basis. So slowly by slowly, you start adding one person after another. And it gets to a point where you're just like, okay, now we need HR at this point, because you're coming with your own issue. Tomorrow is another issue. And then before you know it, as a founder, you are just doing management. Every day it's one issue. I could go to work with my to-do list and go back home with my to-do list because I'm busy managing people. And then you realize, okay, now it's time to create policies. And how do we work? What kind of structures can we put in the business so that whether I'm there or not, then the business can function on its own. And going back to you saying, talking about me going back to school, I could not have done that if
Without
we had not put like structures and processes,
Yeah.
which even if you travel or you take leave, everyone in the store or in the business knows this is how we do things.
That's true.
And we had to change a lot of things. And I remember in the beginning it was so hard even for my team, and even for the third parties we relate to, whereby initially it used to be like a phone call. Hey, I need 50 pieces of this. And now I'm creating a purchase order. I'm giving you, give me, like, what is this going to cost me? Let it be approved. Now, suppliers, stay here. Let's confirm everything is as per our purchase order, and then you can leave. Then you start things, like, I need an account with this one, I need an account with that one. So it became, slowly, getting shape to a point where it's just like, okay, now where I am, I can actually add value from a leadership position for every pillar in the business. So it was such a nice journey for me to see how it was transitioning.
That is, oh my goodness. You guys need to pay for that. That's a master class right there.
Pay, feel, and die.
Tafadhali.
You organize, you just call me.
Sawa, because the day I got asked the same question about selling my business, it's the day I started, I made peace with that. Whenever you have a need that you're solving, then the solution that you're giving is bigger than you.
Yes.
Bandari Beauty is bigger than Morin Bandari. Yes. And sometimes that need, at some point it gets, bigger than you. And so L'Oreal might come through and they're like, can we buy you off? Yeah. And you know what?
Yeah.
Bandari Beauty might never operate on the level that L'Oreal is at.
Sure.
So you're like, this baby.
Yeah, because
it will solve more.
And that's why even as a founder, and I liked how you started, like, what need were you trying to solve? Because then as a founder, if you're so passionate about the issue that you are solving, then it doesn't matter whose hands this business is in, as long as maybe there's some legal agreement that are there to ensure that, in as much as you might have this business, these things remain a must for it to be done, for the vision to continue. Well, sometimes when you sell a business, they can now do whatever they want. But I feel like you can also dictate, we want the core, like, goal that we're trying to achieve remain. And that's why you always find founders selling businesses but remaining as CEOs to continue with, with the vision.
Wow. Yeah, I think I was at the point where we do need a whole masterclass, and so that you can break it down for us, step by step. And I feel like you've done so much, you do so much, and I'm just wondering, how do you base yourself? How do you keep yourself in check? Because burnout is a thing. Burnout is real.
And I actually experienced it this year for the first time.
Oh, okay.
In January, I was just like, I couldn't pick my phone to work. I couldn't create any content. Like, I had not realized trying to juggle, because last year I was traveling for work. I was going to school. I was getting back and continuing to put structures, which is not an easy journey to try and put structures in a business in a way that it can function on its own. And by the time I was going home for Christmas, I was just like, for the first time, I really wanted to just continue staying in the village because, because you just know immediately you come back.
Right.
And I remember we came back and immediately we went into our strategy meeting for the first week. And when we finished that strategy meeting and realized the amount of work that is now awaiting us for the year, my body just could not do it. And for the first time, I was just like, you know what? I literally need to pull back and see what else I can do to, take care of myself in all angles. But the thing that I really, really like about me, I don't keep quiet about my problems.
Okay.
If you're my friend, sorry, I'll call you. Anytime a slight inconvenience.
Right.
There's someone I'm calling any random person. There's a time I think I experienced some inconvenience here and there that was really stressing me about work. And I remember parking my car by the road, called my first friend. She wasn't picking up. Call this. Like, it doesn't matter who I'm calling. I just need to talk to somebody. So you better be. By the time I was calling the third friend and they picked, I talked for hours. I talked and complained. And the good thing with me is the moment I just speak like that, it just leaves my body.
Right.
But now the problem is, you call the first one, the second one, now they're calling you back.
So
now
you
you have to repeat. But not even in that itself, it's just therapy in its own. And this year I literally decided, okay, I need to have structured working hours, because when you are trying to scale something and you're extremely passionate about it, then time becomes a mirage. Like you don't realize. There are times I was leaving the office even at 11 p.m.
Yeah.
We have even left the store with some of my management at 12, almost 1, because we need to crack something that is disturbing us, because it affects how we do business the next day and, moving on. So it got to a point where I'm just like, this is not healthy. I can easily die tomorrow, and then the business will either die with me or move on. So I need to take care of myself as well. So that's when I literally, by Feb this year, it was so categorical for me. I need time with family. I need to put specific time for work so that it's not 24/7. I know for entrepreneurs, when you're starting, it just has to be 24/7. You have no choice. But at some point when you learn the art of delegating, then you need to also cut back on the hours. So now, rarely will you find me in the office around 6 p.m. to 7 maximum. But in the past, you could even get me in the office at 9, doing God knows what. So now I have put down, like, these are my working hours, and I need to spend time with my family in this particular way. But also, I'm a baby girl. Obviously, you find me in a spa somewhere, you will find me...
Go for it.
You will find me doing all manner of things. And there's this thing I started, like, during COVID, whereby every year I just take on a new challenge. So I can decide this year I'm just dancing, so I take up dancing classes. I can decide I'm doing tennis, I take up tennis classes. I'm doing flowers. So this year, I'm taking music classes.
Wow.
I have found someone. So kidogo tunaona kwa kwaya.
Iko tu sawa.
Ama niulize Calligraph Jones kama tunaweza fanya collab, ama Polycarp or BN.
Please make sure umetuita, we will shoot a beautiful music video
for
you. You know?
Feel it, production.
Lazima wataifeel mtu yangu. Lazima wataifeel. Wow.
So I take that time to, like, I decompress now by taking time off to learn something new.
Right.
Because now I need to concentrate. Okay, what are these notes? I hope that teacher is not going to teach me piano, because I tried that thing. I couldn't tell. But now it helps me decompress. I talk to friends, take myself out, holidays here and there. So I try and balance. I would actually say I try and balance.
In that balance, have you found a mantra, a daily mantra that you keep telling yourself that keeps you going every single day?
So for me, I go by the year. So there's this thing I started last year, which I felt like had a very big impact in how I was moving. And I know there's this thing you see online, people are saying, like, I'm in my soft girl era, and all of these things. So for me last year, I thought about the things I want to do, how I want to live my life, and I decided I'm in the lax era. So everything I do has to be within the lax era.
Luxurious.
Exactly. So if you bring me water, is this
luxurious enough?
Is this glass, And in the beginning it was like a funny thing, but later I realized it even affects the brands even I work with as a content creator, because now you are structuring your life in a certain way. You're positioning yourself for greatness, even if you want to call it that. So I decided this year, every year I'm going to have a new title that I'm going to live by. So this year I'm in my blooming era. So with blooming era, the thing I like with these eras that I'm having, I scrutinize everything. So for example, it could be even friendships, for example. And you analyze your friends and you're like, who is this person who is not letting me bloom? For example, you need to prune. What is this activity that I am doing that is not elevating me in a way that I can say I am blooming, then you cut it off. So that is how literally I'm currently living, whereby it is something I announce at the beginning of the year. Instead of having resolutions, I just say I'm in my blooming era. So everything I do, every activity I involve myself in must help me bloom in a certain way that elevates me by the end of the year.
Very nice. Gentlemen in the room, please. Ukijaribu kuniambia nisinunue towel 3, I will prune you. Yes, I am jumping into my blooming era. 44 umesikia. Mafuta ni 3. So, 3. If you tell me otherwise, I prune you. I am in my blooming era. Oh my God.
Prune them.
Prune them.
And you know, that affects everything around me, even at work. Right. Nowadays, I'm such a changed boss, whereby I'm not as entertaining of things as I used to be. Right. I'm more open to pruning any employee that is, becoming a cancer within the organization. Then there's no point. In the past, I could easily listen to you. Oh, okay, please don't do it again. But now it's accountability. This is not working for the business. It's beyond me. The business is now beyond me. We have to bloom. We can't be having, things lying around that needs to be pruned.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Where are your stores located, and how can we contact you on social media?
So at the moment, we have one store at Greenhouse Mall. So that's along Ngong Road.
Right. How many employees do you have so far?
How
many employees do you have so far at Bandari Beauty?
I think we're at what? Yeah, around 17. We have like 15, amazing. Then we have like 2 consultants.
All right. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. Okay. Keep going.
Okay. That days I go into the store. I know she wants to laugh because she has seen me many times where I go in, I'm like, hiya, customers are talk about, oh, all of you work here. And then you're like, oh, we are all we are all here. Or you go into the boardroom, you're like, why did we allow customers to you all work here. You all work here.
Wow.
It's fine. So sometimes I actually laugh about it because when I remember how I didn't want to start employing people because you're, emotionally attached to the business like that. And now is per need. If we have a need, it needs to be filled for sure. Right.
You were telling us where we can find you on social media?
Yes. So we are on Ngong Road, Greenhouse Mall, second floor, Suite 25. And on social media, you can find us at Bandari Beauty. And on the website, we also have bandaribeauty.com.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you so much. Queen Maureen Bandari. I mean, Lux era, so I felt it immediately. You have your crown on.
Yes.
Giving us. Giving us.
Every year as I unleash new eras, doesn't mean I stop leaving the others.
Right.
They just
keep layering.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Speaking, I had something used to run in KU. In KU ulikuwa naitwa function mistress.
I thought this interview is over.
It was over then. I remember the fashion.
Do you know me? I've even been hii ni era ya watu kufanya research. I can say secrets. Like I've been a backup dancer before, a video vixen.
A video of who?
Hey.
Yo tunatafuta.
I told you I was even in a Wow. I've been in like 2 music videos for my friends.
Right.
But I didn't know the songs were going to be hits.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, you just want me to dance for you? We are inside. Kidogo, I'm seeing videos on KBC. My dad is calling me, can you study, young girl?
Oi, ilifikia mzee.
What are you doing? But anyway, my dad is also very open and he knew I love dancing. He's like, hey, no means kwenda, but can you read? And then after that, I think towards the end of my KU stint, let me not call it a stint because I graduated.
Yeah.
I joined they were not even my friends. We were just people looking to form a group, a hip-hop group.
Right.
Hey, my cultural days, mutupate yuko mbele kwa stage. Being like, hey, what?
I'm trying to imagine you in hip-hop.
Do not imagine because,
let's not stop it. Please, take it. Right now I'm talking. I am talking to Maureen's assistant right now. Hizo picha tutaongea kando, ututumie sawa. Hizo TBT.
So tumefanya. So when I was in uni, that's when I started blogging.
Right.
So at that time, me feeling like I'm so creative. Hey, so I used to love fashion and style anyway, but I just didn't want to call my blog The Fashion Mistress. So nikakaa chini nikajiambia it needs to be very unique. Now that I look back, in this current era, it's easier to just have an easy to remember name.
Right.
We move quickly. But at that time, you could not convince me. Hey, it must be very creative.
Right.
So, because I love fashion. So fashion must be there. See, I'm a fun person. I love fun and whatnot. So instead of fashion, it's going to be function. And then, when you look at mistresses, they're always clingy to these people that they date because they belong to others.
Right.
But now you have this very this relationship that is just energy. Nikasema sasa I'm a mistress to this fashion. Nani kama mimi function mistress. Aungeniambia kitu.
And on that, hey, Morin, I think tunaweza piga story. I think it's been almost 2 hours. Tunaweza piga story hadi kesho. And on that fun and fashionable moment, we end this. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you so
I will
much.
forever be indebted to you for coming through a second time. And we've learned so much. And I believe the classmates will learn a lot. Please comment on the, just go to the comment section. Anything you maybe missed on or you would have wanted to know, just comment. We'll throw the comments back to her and then we'll get to answer you. Thank you so much.
Actually, when it airs, I can create time and answer. If they have questions, I can be in the comments and answer.
Thank you. We will definitely let you know when we are airing. Yeah, for sure. We're still filming at Longonot Place. Amazing service suits. Come check them out. Wako na rates fiti sana. Wewe waambie wakupe tu rates za field direct utabambika. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me as well.
Awesome.